Good morning. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. But this is my rest to talk to you people during sleep. Signals are of course weak, very weak. No issue. We have to try our best if we can do something. Life is like that. Sometimes things work your way, sometimes things do not work your way. It happens. There is no are still yielding certifications, competencies, all these are there. Quality issues are there. But how long it works? Quality, I always stress. Its main point during my talks, and I think I am on right path to define what is missing. Quality missing means nothing. We are gaining nothing. If quality misses means we are not getting anything, just material for sake of material and not product. Quality is essence of requirement. Without quality, without safety, you cannot define anything. If I am safe, my health is good, I can be with you, I can talk to you, you can talk to me. And of course, what's quality of my safety, what's quality of my health? That's also relational property. Am I strong enough to deal something? That can be a question for everybody. Is my health good according to medical science or according to my happiness or my pleasure? Sometimes you feel I'm very healthy, it's okay, I'm enjoying my life. Everybody thinks that. My energies are okay, my environment is okay, and I can say that what I do using all those energies for some good work, for some constructive work, I can say in that case I am living quality life. I am living life to standards, life to optimum use of my resources, optimum use of my energy. Actually, quality never comes in your way of progress. Quality always helps you achieve your progress gradually on proper path, and also health pays there, safety pays there. Without your work you cannot get quality. Without your work you cannot be healthy. An ideal resting person can never be healthy. An ideal resting person can never give quality. Quality is essence of your achievement, efforts, hard works, determination, commitment. To be very frank, all properties mix up, result in some kind of properties which you can define your quality. Somebody else can define its quality. Quality doesn't mean just performance. No. Quality means I don't say your life and product life. If say product life is for 5 years or for 10 years, it should perform perfectly during that period, and then this can be discarded. If say it may work for 5 years, if it is defined for 5 years, or 10 years, if it is defined for 10 years, during that period, there should be no problem on product. It should perform in a way it was defined, it was manufactured, and it was priced for. If it does, I can say that product is good, quality one. If it doesn't, it requires service every time, I would say there is no quality in that, because it doesn't perform for defined number of years. Every time I have to call that company or organization or manufacturing unit or that dealer that this product is out of order, and they have to repair it in name of warranty or guarantee, and then they claim we have done good service to you. Well, I don't understand that service. If your original service is not delivered, supplementary services you give in name of after sales services, that can't be called quality, that is a compromise. Compromise is not quality. There can be something, sometimes it happens that due to mechanical fault or due to some other reason beyond control of everybody, it has happened. That is exceptional case. But in normal case, I can't accept that. That quality which is defined, it's not achieved, and you still say this is quality product. That's a misconcept definition, that may be administrative definition, but that may not be engineering definition. Engineering is reality of life. If we engineer something, means we deliver something. It's not poetry, it's not football or cricket that we just enjoy and then leave it to nowhere. It is product, use of product, make of product, performance of product. And because product constitutes of material, it's based on material, it's based on human resources, it's based on mechanism. There are so many factors involved. Therefore, it's very important. It's not ball alone. So many engineering factors are involved. If you consider material itself, it's part of engineering. And if you consider analysis or research on that material or testing on that material, that's very much part of engineering. And then you can say research, and then you can say innovation, or then you can say use of that product, manufacturing of that product. Every act is part of engineering. And engineering means facts. Facts, defined facts, constrained facts, nature of material, known nature, tested nature. All that we can say goes to quality system. Whatever material we use from nature, that nature has put in some properties in them. They are formed as such, and we use those properties in name of our material, in name of our resources. How much do we understand them? How much can we use them? It all depends on material, and for what purpose we use that. That's also a point of healthy system healthy society, and quality one. You may say why I combine these two, health and safety. That can be a good question. Why? Because both are indirect properties. Indirect means we use these properties based on research, quality consideration, safety consideration, health consideration. It's not health of myself or yourself or ours. It is health of material itself. You can define health of a structure, health of machine, health of something based on what does it compose of, what material we have used in this machine, in this mechanism, in this structure. It defines working health of that product. Likewise, what do we eat, how do we live, how do we lead our life. Standards are standards, that's also created, nothing is natural. So just like I say, oh, today I am feeling very well. I walked so many kilometers, I drank water, and I feel my body is fit today. So I myself announce that I am very happy. I am pleased, though I sweated, but I feel comfortable. I feel active. So I define my health due to actions I did and benefit I got. That is my health, and every day it can change. Oh, today I am little sick. Oh, no, 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 today I got up early morning, I did this and that, and then I studied better in morning time or in evening time. And I understood this. I got it clarified. There are so many ways to define yourself. Very, very, so many ways. And these ways are, you can say, very important from each and every point of view, because this is what we can say kind of quality build up and health build up. Because you are building up your health in relation to some properties, in relation to some applications, and that part of application and relation, you can say, is quality system of your life, and what you are achieving is good health. Means you are investing your energies, your work time, your non-work time towards your health building. So this means you have established certain rules for yourself or certain laws for yourself how to live. Somebody says, I want to get up early morning and study or do this and walk. And some say, no, I like to get up late and sleep late. Both have their own systems. Both are right or wrong and their own places. Nothing can be imposed on people, and requirement everywhere and in every activity in life and in engineering, these are a must. We have to consider these facts also. You know, when we say quality and SHE, nothing can work. I'm going to create, I'm going to produce, I'm going to inculcate in that material or in the mechanism. Quality definition is a must. It is defined or may not be understood. It's defined just like we say, I want to make a cup of tea. Yes, cup of tea is very, very normal item. So why is raising this question, cup of tea? Cup of tea has variations in quantity of material, water quantity, tea leaf quantity, sugar quantity, boiling temperature, how long do you boil it, then do you want to add some supportive materials, or you want to drink it like very dense liquid or very normal liquid. It happens. Then you, after cooking, after boiling, you filter it out, screen it, and then you want to drink it, you taste it. Somebody has different taste, you have one taste. There can be many variations, very proportions in these quantities. Sometimes you boil half cup of water, sometimes you boil full cup of water. You add some half spoon sugar. Somebody adds full spoon sugar. Somebody hands two bags of tea. Likewise, taste changes, and your habit of tea changes. You want to cool it and drink it, and somebody wants to take it directly hot as it is. So it means there are various ways which plays you. So there are various quality ways, quality definitions in proportion, and your health applies. Somebody wants, I want to drink very hot, 100 degrees temperature, and I then want to enjoy this tea. It's very simple example of quality system, quality variations. We can understand from that point of view, and then we can also understand something additionally in that, because it's an application of thermodynamics, applied thermodynamics. You boil water from 0 degrees or from some other degrees, 15 degrees or 20 degrees, depending on temperature of weather, maybe 30 degrees sometimes, 40 degrees sometimes, and then you boil up to 100 degrees. So there is a gradient development from 20 degrees, 30 degrees to 100 degrees, and it applies to your pot as well, boiling pot, boiling utensil. This means that's another type of quality, thermal gradient you are creating. What is temperature of your milk at that time? It depends. This example is very supportive to understand that there is variation in quality system as well, in procedure as well, and safety and quality and health and everything. It depends. Means what you do, you get that. So what I say, there are definitions of quality everywhere, in every work, in every design, in every procedure. Maybe these are not recorded, but experimented, experienced, and that maybe you don't want to write something, you don't have the record, but you do it. Means some record is available in mind. But we have to cook like this, we have to do like this, we have to demarcate like this. That is, you can say, it is natural, you may call it natural, though it's not natural, it's defined one. Defined formally or informally, that's different. So you can say quality has its own system which can be developed by ourselves. Quality has to be complied with defined requirements. Whatever we define, we have to do that, and that we can say it's compliance of quality system. And of course, there is no present, there is no future if there is no quality persistence. Quality is, quality was, quality shall be. But it's defined by yourself, formally or informally, that's your choice. Quality is one part of life, while production is another part of life. Production includes quality, and that system which we form ourselves, we define ourselves, that system, if works well, we can say it's working quality. What we define, we are working. Maybe we are working better than what we defined. Therefore, we say all stages designs being significant, but merely design does not suffice if construction and development are not affected to specified marks. Required or defined quality cannot be allowed to be ignored. If we define something ourselves, we define, we explain, we have to do like that. That method we have to follow, that procedure we have to follow. And if we do not follow even after definition, then we can say we have contravened whole system. We have contravened our quality definition, and that we can say it's non-compliance. And non-compliance is very important quality system. If this non-compliance means product is not a specified one, it is a substandard one because you did not do compliance according to system definition. So what we say, do not ignore it, do it according to requirement. Design drawings must have quality marks, quality input, and duly coordinated to produce working drawings, working details, keeping every site working conditions for site cannot be relied upon automatically but provide clear notes, specify properly and explicitly. Means quality starts at design itself. We cannot simply leave it to those who have to work it on site and we say, no, you are responsible, you have done a part of job. That's right that you have done your part of job and that is design part. But don't forget, design itself is a part of work. Design is a part of work. Of course, it is super part. It tells real part, that is execution part, what you have to do. But if it fails to communicate that to that person who is on site, then there is a deficiency in your quality of design. Your design is not perfect. When you cannot leave the assumption that they will raise question and will answer later. No, that's not acceptable. In rare cases it's okay, but in general you cannot take. When you design something, you have to keep in mind that you are working on site and what problems can be encountered, you just vision yourself and then design. So you can say you have pre-fulfilled requirements of those who work on site. But it's not easy to do, it takes time. It's very important, but people don't understand this. This only reason that what should be done, it should be pre-planned. I'm not in support of planning or not support of planning. It's not question of that plan, it's question of work plan. I'm not talking of your life plan or that life plan or this plan. What I'm talking is we have to make sure what we have to do. That is also a part of quality. There may be one item, there may be hundreds items, there may be explanatory item, there may be costly item. Every item is linked to other items and every item has its own actions, has its own application. Based on those applications, based on those actions, based on those activities, we work on that item or group of items and we say we achieved this milestone. Milestone can be achieved both on quality basis or on no quality basis because that is quantity definition. But real milestone is that which is based on total compliance of requirements, those requirements which are defined by documents, defined through documents, and those are defined by those authors, those writers who designed that system, who designed that document, design document, specification document, or some other document, contract document. All in totality can be called requirement of quality. Whatever we do, it's our duty to understand what we are going to do. And if we are not able to do that, then we cannot say we will do. Got my point. If I think that I may not be able to do something which I think I can do, then that thinking itself is wrong. If I think I want to do this and I am unable to do that, then my thinking is defective. It's not based on virtues, it's not based on practical experience. If I think I can do this, only then I can do it, and I can decide that. If I can make mistake one time, second time I learn it. I should not make mistake, and that's also called learning. So what we simply say in our engineering term of construction, that there's a procedure for everything, there's a method for everything, there's a sequence of many activities for many activities, and these activities are linked together, and if you don't link them, there can be no sequence of work, there can be no construction at all. So if sequence is not met, I think there can be adverse results. Sequence is very important to understand from work viewpoint, from quality viewpoint, from every viewpoint, because sequences are missed, that can lead to jeopardize whole work. So we have to understand that it is activity, it is item activity, it is total activity, it's group activity, or it is major activity. Whatever we have to do, we have to think for that activity, and we have to include those activities into our system, into our plan, into our schedule, into our work, into our total quantification, total qualification, in such a way that it is properly analyzed. And that's what we say analysis. Analysis is very important phenomena in our world. No analysis means no care for work. No care for work. Analysis means to understand each and every act, each and every proposal, each and every school of thought and designs. If we don't understand by analysis what can be result of this, what can be consequence of this proposal, it doesn't have any weight in that case. Procedure or method actually is real requirement. I have to move this way. This means I have to get those resources that time. Every resource that is required, we have to know. That is called pre-plan. We have to analyze that, we have to understand that, we have to define a kind of tool which we call analysis, and of course synthesis. Both are tools. Then we have to have total grasp based on experience or by nature of that item. Sometimes it may be material alone, and sometimes it may be technique. Depends. And that is what we have to understand and define. And that definition goes to, you can say, procedure, it goes to statement of method. And that method, if once we understand, we try, you can say this is a repetitive method, this can be repeated many number of times, or you can say this is a typical one, typical, this type of work can be done this way. And that approach, that method, you can say that construction technique, we can say it is a method statement, and that method statement contains within itself safety issue, quality issue, testing issue, resources issue, or whatever is required for that delivery, we include within that. So method statement is kind of a quality system where we have to define ourselves, our ways of doing, and people who deal with that item in whatever capacity, they must agree on method. Once we agree on that method, then we have to comply by, we have to abide by, and that should be within limits. So that we may call specification, or we may call definition of requirement, or we may call by whatever name. Quality products are always required, and quality varies from area to area, profession to profession, requirement to requirement. There are various definitions of quality, and we have to understand them rightly. My scope here is not to define quality at this moment, but just to apprise what is right or what is not right. We are talking of safety, and COVID-19 is also relevant to that. COVID-19, just a brief discussion, is no more, misunderstood. It's no more understood. Both. World has not understood yet, and world has also understood it. Both ways. We understand its impact, but we don't have understanding of how does it work. In fact, as a common person, I can say I do not know how it works. Maybe doctors know well, scientists know well, and I don't have that capacity regarding this issue to explain to you. We all normal people in normal language. Now, despite COVID-19 has occupied whole world, it's very seriously working, but we had been serious sometimes. Now people are not serious. That's also a fact. This means our quality of being seriousness has dropped. Try to get it. In beginning, when it started, people were in panic. They did not know how to live, and they lost their lives. We got crowds of caseloads all over the world. Now it's like that. We don't worry about this. We have general statements from people who are not even caring for taking precautionary measures. Means either we have been too overconfident, we least bother about this, or we are living in warned world. We don't care for alert. I understand that COVID is such a powerful that it spoils minds of people. It creates defects in minds of people, and to some extent people either understand wrongly or they don't even understand. Knowing well that this is going to impact everybody, still we are careless. We have some kind of rigidity in our attitude that we don't listen to anybody. And when you don't listen to anybody or to circumstances encompassing around us, if we don't even care for those circumstances and do our way, I think that is big risk. And risk is always very important in safety. So this is an issue of safety, COVID-19 and whatever its mutations. It's very important consideration. People have stopped, we can say majority of people have started condemning precautionary measures. Illiterate people or illiterate people, I think all are same in this ship of COVID. Means minds are not doing its job. People's minds have been impacted by COVID in such a way that people are taking it too, easily. Misinformation has been working throughout the world. It's a sign of great danger in future. Really, it's a sign of danger that because we don't want to listen, we don't want to abide by any requirement. COVID is very happy to see that situation. It's like, my purpose is solved. If people are careless, my purpose is solved. That is important point. Because you do not want to take required measures, COVID finds it comfortable that my work is reduced. I can infect people very fast. You may say there are methods, there are loss preventive measures like vaccination or like something else. Okay, that's your right, that must be done. But what results are saying, this vaccination is a continuous process. Maybe you have got two, you have to got another two or another two in future. No one knows. Because if someone is a spoiler for situation, that is ourselves. We spoil our situation. I can say governments are sleeping, that is very much fact. Government of world, all countries, I think, they are not interested in good health of people. They are interested in only political interest. And it impacts people also because people are not very serious. People do not go to all analysis, all research, all news. They just, look at what is daily news, and if cases are falling, they think that we got rid of this. And that is where, danger lies in. COVID is, very dangerous at this stage. Everybody has a duty to apply on yourself using protective measures. If you don't do that, it's your fault. I can't blame government because government does not exist. At present time, governments are only interested in economy, not in health. Economy is sitting on our head and not life. That stage has come in. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to have good living, healthy living, or you want to go into clutches of COVID-19. No one can decide for you. That's also important. So yesterday I was talking of safety issue. Now come to point, and we talked of something, definitions of safety, training of safety. We talked of that, what is training, how it's done, and lot of, we talked of training, what training you have to give, what is requirement. Then you have to think of this now, live plant working, general site trainings. We have to go through this, what is training, and before that, what was in 7th, we can see that. Housekeeping we are talking of that time. It's also important. Housekeeping is very small one we talked of. So in housekeeping we talked a length, means what should be done, what should not be done. So it's very small file. We'll talk of only major points again. Housekeeping, responsibilities, etc. we have already discussed. So we'll go to direct, to that page, important part. Just something we can say. All working areas shall be cleaned daily when work is closed. Right? Now, maintenance workshops, let us say. Flammable liquids, including paints, thinners, and solvents, shall be kept in purpose built containers. We discussed this already. From source of ignition. Rags, cardboards, and other carbonaceous materials contaminated by oil or other combustible shall be disposed of on a regular basis to prevent hazard buildup and would be placed in a sealed container. Areas around grinders, lathes, and other rotating equipment shall be kept free of trip hazards and, and would have safe access maintained. Maintenance pits shall be regularly cleaned and have all liquid buildup removed. Some oil shall be drained and contained in sealed container, and when storing or placing materials such as boxes, pallets, or containers, supervisor shall ensure that they do not pose a threat. Workers from elevated stacking, lifting, tripping, or blocking egress routes. Laboratories and workshops shall be maintained clear of debris, waste, and other rubbish, which would be disposed of in accordance with manufacturer's guidelines and meeting environment control requirements. Nominated subcontractors shall ensure that sufficient time is allowed to clear each day's accumulated construction waste and general rubbish. From time to time, contractor may require use of specialist crews to do a general site or a specific area cleanup. Instances of poor housekeeping that results in creation of tripping, slipping, or fire hazards shall be immediately dealt with. Materials shall be stacked and stored in a safe manner that prevents sliding, falling, or collapse. Waste disposal containers shall be positioned to receive food waste. Other areas used for eating shall be kept clean and tidy. Such areas are required to be air conditioned or at least well ventilated. Water should not be allowed to be spread all over site. Proper draining out, draining out arrangements must be made. All blown over plastic bags and other rubbish papers should be removed promptly. Site and camp sewage system should be emptied out frequently using sewage transport tankers. Sewage containment is recommended in place of septic tanks on those sites where connections to municipal drainage are not available. Containments do not allow water to come out of containment to flow into soil. Containments are environment friendly. These were certain points about, we can say, housekeeping. Housekeeping is understood by everybody. Wherever you work, where you sit, you have to take care of that place. That is very important point. You have to take care of that place. Then question of safety training, and that's important point also. It has scope. Then Scope is very simple. It applies to all construction shift training activities to be conducted on project undertaken by whatever contractor. It could be a requirement for revision, updating when project requires further attainment on safety training to be identified for imparting to personal workers. And purpose is very simple. It's guidelines, it provides guidelines for types, classes of training to be provided on construction projects. Training courses should be devised with an intention that trainees find it interesting and useful. It should help safety projects organization and personnel. Once personnel are trained, it is made a virtual asset for organization. There are certain definitions again and again. I'm not going to involve time on that. You all know that one. What you have to see is what we want to give them. That's what we will discuss. And meanwhile, as usual, you can read this by that time we'll back. We'll back by time, come back. We'll have to see how it works. So let's start now what we're talking of. When we were talking of instructions, means new start instruction, what we say new start instruction is in which we set out all employees on being assigned to a construction project. All employees on being assigned to a construction project, regardless of experience, shall receive a new start induction covering following points. We have to explain to them what is project. Overview and detail view, both I think is better. It's just we can start with project overview explanation, a description of project and an understanding of hazards, what kind of hazards, what type of hazards are expected on a project. Main contractor, each contractor, commitment to safety, health and environment, and overview of safety, health and environment management or organization systems. Means in follow-up of what project is and what is contractor's commitment according to contract, what is destination of safety, health and environment on this project. We have to explain to them. Then what site organization is, how this project is structured per requirements, and what is site organization, and of course who is responsible for what, individual responsibilities. And of course nobody wants to lose employees, nobody wants to lose anybody, therefore we can say individual responsibility and zero accident philosophy. Zero accident means fatal accidents. We don't want to lose anybody, and that's why we call it zero accident philosophy. And what are expected principal hazards in constructions, and particularly on this project we are talking of. And of course temporary and permanent electrical systems working on site. And of course you can say program elements, safety assessment, steering committee self-assessment, program safety inspections, site security arrangements and disciplinary procedures. So this is main list, actually few points only, but we go further. Overview of site rules and regulations. It's a very important point. Overview of site rules and regulations. Risk assessments, which we say start card or GHA. Start card, safety task analysis and risk review technique it is called. This is what risk is there, you have to analyze that, you have to find solutions. Can say safety task analysis, whatever task is there, its analysis from safety viewpoint, and then risk reduction technique or risk review technique, task talks and toolbox talks. Then of course GHA, it's called GHA means job hazard analysis or assessment, what sort of hazards we have to face and how to assess them, how to know its power through analysis. Then you can say task, what tasks are there, and toolbox talks. So you have to deliver toolbox, we have to share with everybody. And then of course incident reporting, whatever happens on site that must be reported. Whatever bad or unpleasant situation or unacceptable situation will happens on site, that's called incident reporting. And of course hazard reporting, when incident is there must be some hazard, so it should come all together. And then what medical protocol is, how we have to handle it medically. Then emergency procedures, of course, emergency means medical requirement. and of course there is some problem, then emergency evacuation. For example, breakout of fire or some explosion, so there should be some emergency evacuation requirement. Housekeeping and waste management, we have already discussed this at length, what's housekeeping and how it is managed. Waste management, you can say. Environmental considerations, environment considerations are a very big issue, and for a particular site what we have to take care of in that consonance, in that relation of environmental consideration, and how to care of health and welfare of people. Then to share knowledge about plant and equipment working on site, and what level working at height, which is also very important issue, working at height, because generally accident happenings are experienced when people work at site at height, and sometimes they become negligent, so accidents can happen. Material handling, material handling, how to handle material, because that's also a very important point. Material handling is also linked to ergonomics. And fire prevention, how to deal with fire, how to get rid of fire, how to get rid of fire before fire breaks, that's called fire prevention. And how to get rid of fire if fire breaks, that's called fire suppression. And personal protective equipment, PPE we generally call them, it can be many. Generally there are helmets or hard hats and safety shoes and coveralls and goggles, eyeglasses, and many more depending on requirement. Face shield, or you can say masks, or you may also say oxygen cylinder sometime in specific areas. And then waist belts or life harness, lifeline, and there are so many respiratory instruments, respiratory tools. So that depends upon personal protective equipment, what are these. Then you can say job site sanitary arrangements and policy, what is available on site for purpose of sanitary and for other policy. What is the smoking policy on this site? Of course, non-smoking areas and smoking areas are defined. Generally, smoking areas are very small. Generally, non-smoking areas are all over. Then job site driving rules and requirements. Driving rules means maximum speed in each street of site, and imposition of self-defense, or you can say defensive driving. Then incentive schemes and safety awards, that's a part of plan. And there may be many more topics which are not listed here, maybe depends on when we talk further. Then we come to line management or line organization and supervisory training, that is given to those people who supervise. Many types of supervisory trainings are given, imparted. And then line management or line organization staff and supervision shall be instructed in expectations of SHE and S programs, and specifically must have following explained, and that is SHEs in S plan, plan with roles and responsibilities, and then communications, effective toolbox talks, and task training, implementation of START and GHA program, which is not easy because items are dealt with. Then incident cause and analysis, and of course job site monitoring and inspection, and hazard recognition, safety leadership training. Line management organization shall be expected to review those requiring safety training to determine their level of experience, skill, and appropriateness adequacy, sufficiency of training undertaken. So these are very important points for those who work in front, supervise work in front. Let us say line organization of frontline supervisors shall be given instructions regarding HSE plan. This is what plan is and what are roles and responsibilities delineated or given in that plan, or you can say obliged to be obliged by their respective roles. That is communications among people, among employees, and you can say this means effective toolbox talks and task training. Using start cards and JHA program. Incidents cause. What is cause of incident? Because incident means there should be something behind that. We cannot simply say it happened. Yes, it happened, that's okay. But what was cause of that incident? And what is analysis of that? Did we analyze that? Then how to monitor site, how to inspect it, all that is required, and what hazards happen are those we have to recognize. Hazards, though hazards means unexpected thing happens, that's called hazard, but we have to recognize that it may happen, or you may call it risk level, risk issue, safety leadership training then. So you can say those people who are in front or on site, you can say site lead, they shall be expected to review those requiring safety training and determine their level of experience, skill and appropriateness and adequacy, sufficiency of training to be undertaken. Working on electrical system. Working on electrical system, we can say personnel working on electrical systems shall be given training on requirements and hazards associated with relevant activity, which says basic facts about electricity. Everybody knows it, but let it be more clear. Basic facts about electricity, shock and electrocution. Electrocution is very important because people lose their lives. Employees can lose their lives. Shock, electric shock. Water and electricity relation, burns, fire related electrical hazards. Tools, cards and residual current device. Tools, cards and resident current device, residual current. Then lock and tag out. Lock and tag out procedure. Housekeeping. Personal protective equipment and safe working practices. Permit to work system. Permit to work system. Then live plant working. Live plant. It's an important point. Live plant means some plant working there, some operational area is there, how to work there before some activity commences, both of a permanent or temporary nature. In live plant areas, training shall be given to all personnel on requirements and hazards associated with live plant conditions, which may include permit to work system, emergency evacuation, emergency alarms, equipment allowed in process areas, communications, non-destructive testing, security arrangements, process hazards, plant induction, gas detectors, and personal alarm escape sets. So it's a permit to work system, emergency evacuation, emergency alarms, equipment allowed to in process areas, communication, non-destructive testing, security arrangements, process hazards, plant induction, gas detectors and personal alarms, escape sets. Then you can say general site training. What is that? A program shall be established against project schedule which would cover following main areas: lifting operations, safe excavations, scaffolding, vessel entry, working at height, first aid, permit to work when process agreed with employer. These are the lifting operations. Lifting has many operations, means crane lifting, other lifting, lift lifting, you can say forklift lifting, likewise manual lifting, means there can be so many issues. Some are accepted, some are not accepted in live plant. Safe excavation. No live services should be impacted upon. Scaffolding, because people can fall. Then vessel entry, hot work, confinement, working at height, danger point, and first aid means how to handle, and permit to work. Now, safety leadership training from time to time, and as project expands with more subcontractors mobilized, contractor shall sponsor and arrange for a contractor corporate trainer to attend site and conduct safety leadership workshops with safety management system overviews. Likewise, subcontractor shall arrange for additional training through their corporate office. Assessment of training program, evaluation and effectiveness of training program shall be measured by SHE safety assessment. A management action plan be developed that concentrates on improving certain weakness identified in program. So we have gone through housekeeping, we have gone through safety training, and now we can say let's go further on this. That's also very important part of everything. We have to be, means safety is actually extremely important. If we say from what point of view, from every point of view I can say. I have to go to management section, my folder. It is was safety training, and now emergency and evacuation plan. Let's go through this emergency and evacuation plan. So it is emergency and evacuation plan. So I keep of housekeeping and I keep of safety training, and we will come to this 40. This is emergency and evacuation plan. This is where we have to concentrate for this balance period. What we have to think here: deal with certain situations of whatever types of emergencies. So what we say, that is types of emergencies we are exposed to during project currency and thereafter as well, that we have to understand, because this is This is emergency and evacuation plan, which means directly deals with lives of people. If we don't worry about this, we will lose people, we lose their lives. So scope of this statement is to deal with certain situations, of whatever types of emergencies exposed during project currency and thereafter as well. Now, certain sub-scope you can say, we are going to discuss, which would possibly could be required while dealing with defined demanding situations. So it says following lines give sub-scope related to this statement, and that is to avoid impact of whatever possible emergency on personal, and if avoidance is not possible, shall try limit gravity of such impact on personal, property and environment. Preferably, requirement is to avoid impact of whatever possible emergency on employees, personal and on property. And if avoidance is not possible, minimum losses are expected. Shall try limit gravity of such impact on personal, property and environment. To increase and effectively maintain an organizational framework that shall provide a rapid and effective response to an emergency made situation. A rapid and effective response to an emergency based made situation, to provide a list of actions for effects during emergency with given clear instructions for relevant proposed actions, to assign and authorize personnel responsible for specific emergency actions as listed along with provided emergency telephone numbers. Means to give responsibility to some people, some seniors, some matured who are authorized personnel. They will be responsible for handling specific emergency required actions, which will be listed. And we also provide emergency telephone numbers or whatever other reference to provide communication channels essential for coordinating actions required to deal with emergency, both within project and externally as well, in conjunction with appropriate emergency services. To provide relevant information and procedures to apply in response to different emergency situations such as health, outbreak of disease, you can say, medical accidents, broken limb, cuts, abrasions, etc. So in health is this outbreak of disease, whatever disease. Medical accidents means broken limbs, cuts or abrasion, etc. Fire break out in offices or on site or in process plant area. Enclosed space problems, trench collapse, toxic gas emissions, etc. Failure of concrete structures following collapse or failure of scaffolding, collapse of booms of heavy equipment like crane boom, civil unrest, strikes, force majeure, floods, natural calamities, war, etc. Regional political conflicts, national or international impact. There may be many more, just few, not all. Now a precise document on emergency response must be recorded by site document control and posted on safety notice board. Maintain a routine dialogue with emergency services. Keep all project site personnel and operating involved agencies updated of developments on site with, with regard to status of on-site potential hazards. Purpose: plan in advance. Plan in advance relevant details for possible site emergency and evacuation plans. So, site emergency, this is possible site emergency and evacuation plans for all personnel assigned to project, which shall be used as a training guide to ensure that employees are fully aware to share respective responsibilities which are required to be effected during breakout or imposition of an emergency situation. This is actually major indicator that we are saying we have to plan to advance, we have to plan in advance relevant details for possible site emergency and evacuation plans for all personnel assigned to project, which shall be used as a training guide to ensure that employees are fully aware of sharing respective responsibilities which are required to be effected during breakout or imposition of an emergency situation. All such plans and details shall be charted out. All such plans and details shall be charted out on documents from commencement of mobilization onwards to completion of entire projects for approval and circulation. Such plans shall be required in both cases when either brownfield or greenfield projects are under construction. All such plans and detail shall be charted out on documents from commencement of mobilization onwards to completion of entire project for approval and circulation. Such plans will be required in both cases when either brownfield or greenfield projects are under construction. Just for information, brownfield means when existing project is upgraded to meet new requirements, while greenfield means a project taking off from scratch. Brownfield projects are very common. Initially, this plan concentrates on effects of emergencies. Occurring on an existing operating plant and would respond to emergencies imposed in oil or petrochemical plant, but shall also cover emergencies on construction camp and project site. As work progresses, approved plan shall be reviewed to incorporate possible imposition of emergency arising on new plant or construction site. I repeat, initially this plan concentrates on effects of emergencies occurring on an existing operating plant and would respond to emergencies imposed in oil or petrochemical plant, but shall also cover emergencies on construction camp and project site. As work progresses, approved plan shall be reviewed to incorporate possible imposition of emergencies arising on new plant or construction site. EPC contractor can say prime contractor controlled personal working within adjacent operational facilities or easement areas shall be made aware to conform to facility emergency procedures. Assembly point direction signs and wind stocks, assembly point direction signs and wind stocks shall be installed at different locations such as indicated below. Site office, site office, administrative building area, camp common area, camp messing hall, site fabrication shop means assembly points, direction signs and wind sock shall be installed at different site offices. Administrative building, camp, camp common room, messing hall, site fabrication shop. Then accountability of personnel. Accountability of personnel. Accountability of personnel. A swipe card system to be installed and print out used to check head counts. In event of power failure, head count shall be conducted using daily reports provided by contractor and its subcontractors. Night shift supervisor, if it's applicable and virtually feasible, security personnel shall maintain a head count of personnel working during night shift. For personnel working outside perimeter fence under plant easement permit, a list shall be kept in security gatehouse with established protocol for making communications. Supervision shall have either a radio or a mobile telephone kept on site all times. Visitors to site shall be accompanied by approved escorts all times. Management on site, whether subcontractors contractor, engineer or project owner shall ensure that appropriate level of supervision are assigned as escorts to visitors or vendors to site, who should brief on response in event of imposition of whatever type of emergency. On certain security related projects, escorts specific training is imparted to qualified personnel. Upon successful completion of trainees are issued badges with defined validity. What is that? Now we have here is an unplanned, unforeseen event which results or may result in injury to people, damage to property and or environment. Site manager or deputy shall assess possibility of scale of an emergency imposable during construction phase of project work. Minor emergency. It was an unplanned, unforeseen before. It was which results or may result in injury to people, damage to property and or environment. Site manager or his deputy shall assess possibility of scale of an emergency impossible during construction phase of project work. Minor emergency. Emergent situation causing no danger to life, risk to environment or property, but is beyond capacity to 100% mitigation control. This was minor emergency. Serious emergency. Serious emergency situation causing danger to life, risk, environment or property, which is within capability of contractor's organization and equipment to control and handle, but adequate resources to should be planned. So minor emergency, serious emergency, and major emergency. Minor was emergent situation causing no danger to life, risk to environment, no danger to risk to environment or property, but is beyond capacity to 100% mitigation control. And serious emergency, emergent situation causing danger to life, risk, environment or property, which is within capacity of contractors, organization and equipment to control and so serious emergency we have seen. Now major emergency. When emergent situation goes beyond capabilities of project organization, when emergent situation goes beyond capacities of project organization and available equipment to control require assistance from relevant government agencies and or other external resources. Emergency control centers should be established in different locations during working hours or if it demands mobilization to site, conference room. Then we can say during working hours, emergency control centers during working hours, or if it is if it demands mobilization of site to site, conference room can be used as control center. Camp emergencies can be tackled by using camp administration office as control center. Camp emergencies can be tackled by using camp accommodation or administrative office as control center. Of course, list of personal designated members within initial response team and minerals and list of personal designated members within initial response team at emergency control center must be notified with their contact number. We can see information team. An information team comprising site managers to be constituted to gather information regarding emergency consequences phonically or otherwise. Emergency we can say now an information team comprising site managers to be constituted to gather information regarding emergency consequences, phonically or otherwise, by sending a reporter to scene of incident and then relaying salient information to project owner, contractors, emergency. Definition regarding certain terms. Well, these are almost same, no major difference. Almost same only. Training means training imparted by specific safety topic on subject and job like that. All others look same. And similarly, responsibilities of that. So now we go to the all responsibilities these are. Instructions. Instructions we are talking of. Emergency procedure. All contractors and subcontractors mobilized within boundaries of contractor control site shall be formally made aware of possible evacuation procedures and what their responsibility shall be in this regard of an emergency. Site emergency response. Site emergency response. In event of a serious incident, occurring on site, following generally described guidelines shall be observed. Decisions shall be made dependent on severity of event by site management to establish an emergency control room based in site office, conference room. A decision shall be made dependent on severity of event by site management organization to establish an emergency control room based in site office, conference room. Contractor site organization shall alert subcontractors, site leaders or their deputies by telephone about emergency that could impact their areas of work. A decision shall also be made whether or not it is necessary to contact local government departments about incidents as such. For example, a case of fatal accident. They in turn shall alert their various foremen by telephone with instructions an emergency alert, raise alarm. Foremen shall then proceed immediately to designated areas on site where personnel under respective controls are working. Vehicle horns to be on and vehicle indicate hazard warning lights flashing. A loud hailer speaker shall be provided to designate area supervisors and cap in site office. This is to ensure that workers are made aware of emergency situation. This is to ensure that workers are made aware of emergency situation during temporary absence from work location. Area supervisor shall notify foreman, general foreman, etc. location and prescribed uses of loud hailer speaker. Site supervision shall alert workers to leave their place of work, but first switch off all equipment and then muster at prescribed assembly point places on site. They shall then inform emergency control center number of personnel mustered. Security shall advise emergency control center of numbers of personnel on site based on swipe card system. Site management organization shall make a decision as to whether or not a total evacuation is required. Location of final evacuation point shall be determined by nature of emergency aspects such as wind direction. Accountability of personnel. A swipe card system shall be installed and printout used to check, compare headcounts. Also, headcount shall be compared to daily reports. Visitors to site shall be given a temporary pass and accompanied all times whilst present on site. If necessary, construction office building may serve as an assembly area and one large building in camp area to serve as other assembly area. Communications. Initially, this shall be conducted using mobile phones. Radios can also be provided following allocation of wavebands. Fires. A person discovering a fire shall raise verbal alarm by informing personnel in area, who should immediately evacuate area. Supervisor shall contact emergency. Control center in camp or SHE manager on site. Initial attempt shall be made to put out fire with available extinguishers. Use of fire water mains as long as there is no risk to person concerned. On being informed, SHE manager or designate shall attend incident location, and when fire cannot be extinguished, shall call local fire service station stating description of location and extent of fire, caller's name, company and telephone number. Arrangement shall then be made by SHE department to meet responding local fire service personnel at camp or site entrance as appropriate. Availability of water tanker shall be arranged if considered necessary for firefighting purposes. Camp or site management representatives shall be requested to attend incident at location and examine severity of fire. Site leader shall then assess situation and determine if some other measures such as area evacuation and or information outside authorities is necessary. Fire and emergency action instruction notices shall be posted on job site, in office area and in camp. Medical emergencies. When major injury, illness or multiple injuries occurring in job site, in offices, facilities or camp, following actions shall be carried out. Major injury or illness. Personnel in vicinity shall immediately advise supervision in area or camp administration in camp situations of location of incident. Extent of injuries, description of symptoms, nature of emergency or incident, name and company of all injured parties. Location of incident, extent of injury, description of symptoms, nature of emergency or incident, name and company. Supervision and camp administration shall then advise site HSC department or contractor supervision as soon as possible on notification using mobile phone number provided. On being informed, safety manager or organizer shall proceed with contractors or camp medical staff to incident, appraise situation and shall request assistance from nearest hospital if so required. Shall advise site leader giving details of emergency, location, type of accident, including symptoms and extent of injuries, name of injured persons, caller's name and telephone numbers. Arrangements shall then be made by safety department to meet responding paramedic crew and ambulance at camp or site entrance as appropriate. Camp or site organization representatives So arrangements shall then be made by safety department to meet responding paramedic crew and ambulance at camp or site entrance as appropriate. Camp or site management representatives shall be requested to attend incident at location and assess severity of incident. Site organizer shall then assess situation and determine if some other measures such as informing authorities are necessary. Multiple injuries. In event of a situation where multiple persons are injured, following action shall be followed. Site supervision, contractor and subcontractor in area shall so far as possible stabilize situation and make area safe. Safety department and site doctor or nurse shall attend site, examine victims, you can say site HSC department and site doctor and nurse shall attend site, examine victims and mobilize ambulances available on site. Safety leader shall keep site manager, site leader informed of developed situation. Site leader shall make a decision whether or not to call an emergency and send personnel to emergency control center. Site management team, organization team they say site manager shall make a decision whether or not to call an emergency and send personnel or emergency control center. Site lead team in attendance at emergency control center shall notify hospital giving details of personnel injured, types of injuries being treated on site and emergency transportation arrangements being used, that's namely ETA, expected time of arrival of a first patient at hospital. Depending on number of personnel involved and available transport, treatment facilities, site leader shall mobilize administration manager leader to camp to establish a temporary holding station where a patients can be stabilized prior to being transported and hospitalized. So you can say site manager, you can say HSC manager shall stay on site and start a preliminary investigation, and site leader shall make a decision to demobilize ECC Emergency Control Center personnel on satisfactory response to existing situations. Outbreak of illness or disease. Site leader shall immediately be informed of outbreaks of disease or illness in camp and should be responsible for informing employer and doctor at local department of preventive measures and sins. Or then outbreak of illness or disease says, you can say outbreak of illness or disease, site leader shall immediately be informed of outbreaks of disease or illness in camp and should be responsible for informing employer and doctor at local department of preventive medicines. DOPM, Department of Preventive Medicines, Department of shall respond accordingly to actions and resolve it utilizing local services, sources. Isolation. When an outbreak of a contagious disease is first suspected, a safety manager shall cite doctor or nurse, safety manager cite doctor, nurse, and administration leader shall identify a location say what to do then. When an outbreak, you can say, of a contagious disease first suspected, HSC, safety manager, site doctor, nurse, and administrative manager shall identify a location where patients can be admitted duly isolated from other camp residents. Subcontractors using camp facility shall be advised to report such cases of contagious diseases or illness to site leader as soon as possible with information as to steps taken in isolating such cases. EPC contractor on site doctor or nurse is encouraged to report consistent illness medical cases to enable corporate doctor to proactively assist. Emissions and incidents involving adjacent plant if applicable. Oil refineries, petrochemical and chemical plants have their own emergency procedures which include notification to key personnel on project in event of emergency. In addition, they should have a mutual and program that be fostered through emergency fire. During emergency, in addition, they should have a mutual aid program that be fostered through Emergency Fire Mutual Aid Committee, that is Fire Mutual Aid Committee, which responds during emergency within industrial complex. During emergency, site supervisors shall notify site lead of situation that has occurred on their respective plants or areas. However, employees shall be instructed to, on hearing an existing plant alarm siren. However, employees shall be instructed on hearing an existing plant alarm siren to be aware of either a gas release or an imminent source of widespread danger. Employees shall in turn raise alarm and inform supervision, who contact site lead, provide brief details of emergency. On being informed either by an existing plant or by some other source, safety supervisor manager shall proceed to threatened area, apprise situation and as necessary contact site lead seeking advice or initiate an immediate site evacuation if situation so dictates, using all supervisors and line management available in vicinity. It shall be responsibility of area supervisors, superintendents to ensure contractors in their respective areas are advised. It shall be responsibility of area supervisor, superintendents to ensure contractors in their respective areas are advised. On being informed, all workers shall cease work, shut down engines and switch off electrical equipments before proceeding to designated emergency assembly points, taking care not to walk into wind-blown path of a gas cloud. Check wind stocks and for direction. Proceeding to designate emergency assembly hall assembly points, taking care not to walk into wind-blown path of a gas cloud, checking wind socks for direction. Wind socks. Area supervision shall also check that their areas have been successfully evacuated and workers proceeding to assigned muster points. Site lead shall make a decision based on information given, that is, muster or total evacuation is required. As described, handheld loud speakers shall also be provided for each work location to assist in spreading awareness about such an emergency situation. Commission and startup. This section shall be addressed at a later stage with inclusion of emergency response requirements for live plant areas. Transportation. Transportation off-site shall be accommodated through following mechanism. Each contractor shall be responsible for providing adequate transportation to and from site. Buses and pickups shall be kept adjacent to areas where personnel are working for quick removal. Buses parked in camps or in laydown areas shall be mobilized to areas where personnel are working if safe to do so. Camp administration shall be responsible for mobilizing buses at camp. Subcontractors shall be requested to provide assistance in ensuring that all personnel, including personnel who are not their own people, own employees, are evacuated from areas. Point of evacuation shall be managed by supervision. Instruction to return to work when ascertained that it is safe to do so. Safety department shall disseminate this instruction through superintendents and subcontractors, safety officers for action. Emergency response team. Contractors shall ensure that an emergency response team ERT is available to react quickly and respond suitably to all major incidents or emergencies. Team shall generally comprise of contractor supervisory personnel, members as nominated by contractor site, lead site team, contractors site organization. Each personnel member shall be provided with suitable means of communication for contact purposes. Also, a vehicle to facilitate quick response and travel to scene of incident or emergency, or a control point nominated by site lead HSC manager. Site doctor, nurse and ambulance should be on standby during hours at site and mobilize to work areas as and when required. Should a need arise, they should also be available in camp after working hours and can be mobilized quickly to respond in event of an emergency. Local Department of Civil Defense, Fire and Emergency Response. Following italic contents have been extracted from some project location. These may not be generalized in its sense of procedure. Organization is located adjacent to EPC contractor site. Detachment is well named, well manned, trained and equipped to deal with emergency situation including fires. Officer in charge of detachment has confirmed that his detachment shall respond immediately to emergency call from EPC contractor regarding construction site or accommodation camp on a 24 hours per day basis. I repeat, organization is located adjacent to EPC contractor site. Detachment is well manned. Detachment is well manned, trained and equipped to deal with emergencies situation including fires. Officer in charge of detachment has confirmed that his detachment shall respond immediately to an emergency call from EPC contractor regarding construction site or accommodation camp on a 24 hours per day basis. Training and drills. EPC contractor, site officers, site managers, site management organizations shall ensure that Suitable emergency planning and training is affected to all project personnel. Basic fundamental plan shall be included in safety induction training for new employees. Emergency drills shall be conducted on a regular basis. These are references and these are attachments. Whatever attachments are there, not clear here. Let's see. So let's go further. Let's see what's that. Now these are some attachments here, just for reference only. Emergency center, control, conference center, type telephone, numbers like this, contractor, job title, various job titles here, subcontractor, various job titles here, likewise, and also you can say flow chart. This chart doesn't indicate hierarchy but functional working and coordinational relations only. HSC manager reports to corporate safety department but functionally on site, report to site manager and interacts with construction managers. This is a plant here, let's say HSC manager here, and site manager, engineer site manager, engineering site manager, then HSC manager, general superintendent, various levels here. This is just a plan to understand. And then other attachments are there. So that's what actually is about. You can say site emergency requirements. We have gone through this, you can say, today. We have gone through this. We have gone through. Then we'll talk of fire protections next time. We'll talk fire protection next time. This will be definitions of purpose and then responsibilities. This will look next time, and we'll close this session. And after that we will have set of PPs for that. In this PPs we'll see likewise so we have today covered some issues, not all, some safety issues. safety, health and environment issues which are very significant on construction sites. These issues cannot be ignored by engineers because directly or indirectly you have to deal with them. Ultimately, it is engineering site. Safety is a support there. We have to handle these issues in all respects. So I think we'll talk it later on now. We should go and